I want to talk to those of you who are thinking of leaving Babylon. There are many things to talk about and to plan, to discuss, and to pray about. First of all, I want to let you know that you should be encouraged. Of course, you're doing the right thing or you wouldn't be thinking about this now. One of the things you should know is that when you do leave, you will receive many blessings. I've seen it happen to many people. Many good things happen, but at the same time, there are many trials and many difficult times ahead. So you need to start preparing mentally and spiritually for this. You should also prepare mentally to have less. You have to be realistic. You're leaving the United States or Canada. You have a lifestyle that even for middle class to lower middle class people is higher than much of the rest of the world lives. So prepare yourself mentally for that you're going to have less. You might even do a few camping trips or times where you go and you rough it a little bit just to prepare yourself physically and mentally for the times, because when you're out of the US, sometimes you do have to rough it, especially if you don't have a lot of money. Start coming out of Babylon now, mentally and spiritually. Think of what Babylon is and what all of her sins are, and come out of her spiritually and mentally. Meditate on that. Talk about it. Work on not being selfish, but think of others, though they might not be so selfless yet. Now, I know as believers in Yeshua the Messiah, we believe that we're not supposed to be selfish. But many times we learn so many lessons when we are living or traveling with other people. We realize some of our weaknesses, but it helps us because we grow constantly during the whole time. Of course, it goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway. Pray and ask for guidance. Be in constant contact with your Heavenly Father and with Yeshua. Ask for help and guidance. And also in Jeremiah 50 and verse 8, it tells us in this same context of leaving Babylon, it says, "Be like the rams before the flocks." So you're going to be some of the first people who are leaving Babylon. So be like the rams before the flocks. Don't wait to be able to comfortably leave with all of the sheep, because if the sheep are left to their own plans, many times they won't go anywhere. They'll just stay in one place, eating the same old grass until it's all gone. So you have to be like the rams who are more aggressive and go ahead. Go ahead of the rest of the group. It's important to realize this, because once you do get out of Babylon, then you're going to be in the role of being able to receive and help others who are leaving themselves. You see, it's like a domino effect, or passing the favor along to the next person. Start making contacts and friends that have contact to a country that you might be interested in. Start looking for and meeting people who could possibly be a door that opens for you. Keep your eyes open, because when you pray for blessings in this regard, Yahweh can answer your prayers in a way that you're not expecting. I'm going to tell you a little bit about something that happened to me that I didn't expect it, and I didn't even put it together until I was finally out of the country. But I knew that I was going to leave Babylon for 2 years almost 2 years before I finally left. So I was planning, getting everything in order, paying off all my debts, because you shouldn't leave any debt behind. And everyone has to make their own decisions, but that was one of the things that I didn't want to do, was leave just debt behind, hanging there for the credit card company or something to have to pay for. And I was blessed, and I was able to leave in good standing like that without any debt. But about 6 months before I had my flight to leave the country, I'm a sign language interpreter. I know American Sign Language, and I'm also, I know Spanish, and I have a degree in Spanish interpreting and translating. And a school district in Pennsylvania got in touch with me, and they knew that I knew both languages, and they asked me if I could teach American Sign Language to a family that was from Peru living in Pennsylvania that needed to be taught American Sign Language but needed it to be explained in Spanish because the mother didn't speak enough English. So I was like just the right person to do this job. And it worked out really well because I thought about it and I said, well, actually I'm doing the job of two people. I hope this doesn't seem bad to some of you, but I said, you know, I'm doing the job of two people, so I'm going to charge them twice my hourly rate. I said, why not? Otherwise they would have to hire two people to do this, a translator and a teacher, and it wouldn't be as efficient as me doing it. And so I did that. I gave them the proposal, and they approved it immediately. They didn't even hesitate. So this was a huge blessing for me because I was making twice as much as I usually made for interpreting and teaching. And but even more than that, I had this class with this family, a private class, every Sunday for about 4 months actually, and with this Peruvian family. And I got to become friends with them to a certain degree. And it was a mother and 3 daughters. And one of the daughters was hard of hearing, but they wanted the whole family to know sign language. And that's why they hired me for this. So, well, to make a long story short, I made the contact with this person. Finally, when we left the United States, we'll talk about this some other time, I went to Chile, but things in Chile didn't work out. And this person, who I was teaching sign language to months before that, called me or wrote me an email, and then I had given her the phone number of the house that we were living with down in Chile, where things weren't working out. We were having problems in Chile. She called and said, would you like to come up to Peru? Would you like to come up to Peru? I'm going to be there visiting my mother on her land. They had like a little farm there. And I said, sure. But I also, there was a pretty big group of us that had left together, and there were about 14 other people. And she said, no problem, have them all come up. Well, the point is that I didn't know that this person who they hired me to teach, I was never planning on going up to visit her. We thought we were going to be living in Chile, but things just didn't work out there, and the door opened to go up to Peru, which is like the next country. And she was there, she received us, she took us in, actually had a house waiting for us. We didn't have to pay rent for a month and a half. So many blessings, so many incredible details and things that happened, good and bad. But so just keep your eyes open for that person that Yahweh might put in your path, that might be someone who's a link that helps you when you're out. I mean, it'll be different for everybody. So keep your eyes open for that strange but good opportunity that might come up. Be wise and be prudent. There are many wolves in sheep's clothing. Be careful. Be careful who you talk with, what you say. It's like you have to take certain risks, but be wise. Do research on countries, cultures, language. Learn the language of the country if you know where you are going. If you already know in your mind where you're going to go, start learning and studying that language. Your life will be much better if you know the language there. Don't expect them to speak only English to you. And finally, Yahweh bless you. We're going to continue this dialogue, and hopefully as more and more things come up, I'll try to give you more guidance and help, and you can please give me some comments and some questions directly sent to my email, and I'll try to address those concerns and those subjects. So Yahweh bless you. Have a great day.